So, like, from autopsy, we were able to find some data related to the existing of virtual machines. Now, another thing is that to detect whether a virtual machine is in a host computer, we can look either at the actual virtual machine itself and fetch for data, or we can look at the actual evidence exists in the host machine. So the first aspect here, it says that to look to the user documents folders in Windows and or user directories in Linux. So we can search any documents. So we can go to the document folders. So for example, here, we can go to the documents, and from the documents, we can see here some virtual machines, and within the virtual machines, we were able to see some virtual machines related to the VMware. We can see that, okay, the suspect has utilized Ubuntu and he has utilized Windows, although you can see that in VMware, we just have Windows. This means that he has previously installed Ubuntu, or there are some information related to Ubuntu. Also, another thing is that we can look for other places, such as, for example, these are related to the VMware. So what about the data related to the virtual box? We can see them here in the C and the users and then we can get some information about a virtual box, and this path varies from from user to user based on the preferences and based on where they located the virtual machines during the creation. So when you search in your own paths, this would be different, but the point is that you need to locate for different places, different paths that shows the virtual machines. So these are related to the virtual box. Okay. So the first thing is to look for the user's document folder in Windows or user directories in Linux. Another thing, to check the host registries for clues that the VM has been installed or uninstalled. How can we check this? We can check this using regedit, which is the registry editor, regedit, and then we run it as an administrator. And from there, we can go. Where's the registry edits? Here's the registry editor, yes. From the registry editor, we can check where. We can go to the local machine, and from the local machine, we can go to the system. Not the system, we can go local machine, and then the software. And from the software, we can check if there is any existence, any information related to the VMware, okay, or anything related to the VirtualBox. We know that VirtualBox is powered by Oracle, so we can see it here. Okay, and we can see all the applications. Also, so these are some information that shows the existence of virtual machine in the registry. Another thing is the existing of virtual network adapter. What does that mean? Okay, now we do know that when we are using either VMware, so this is my VMware, I might connect this VMware to one of when I manage it, so I should be able to understand which network is connecting this virtual machine to. So if I go to the network adapter, this is connected to a bridge adapter, and it can be changed to, for example, to a NAT, host only, etc. Not only this, but also if I am using VirtualBox, I have here many virtual machines. And I can see, for example, the network here is a bridge adapter. I will not change it because it's running, but here, for example, I have network and bridge adapter. I will change it, for example, to NAT, and then okay. Will I be able to find any existence of these adapters in the host virtual machine? The answer is yes. And where? We can go to control panel, here, control, to the control panel. And from the control panel, we can check here. There are a lot of information. I will go to the network and then network and internet, network and sharing center, and then change adapter setting. And then I will be able to see that, okay, this is my Wi-Fi related to the host machine. Okay, this is related to my host machine. And there are other things, Ethernet 0, I'm not connecting to any Ethernet or cabled network. Here I have other thing. What are these? So this is related to the VirtualBox. So I have here VirtualBox, and this VirtualBox use host only Ethernet adapter. And I have in the VMware, it consists of multiple adapters. I have VMware Virtual Ethernet adapter and also from VMnet and VMnet 8. So Ethernet 2 is related to the VirtualBox, and I have VMnet adapter related to the VMware and VMnet adapter 8 also related to the VMware. So all of these are network adapter exists in the host that shows that there are virtual machines. Okay. Let's go back. So these are the important thing, is that we can find information in documents and registry or in the network adapter. Okay. So if we go, here yeah, a VM can also be nested inside other virtual machines on the host machine or a USB drive. This is very important information. It says that we might have some virtual machine exists inside virtual machines, and this is this is not very common actually, but it happens. Also, sometimes virtual machines can exist on a USB drive. How can we do this? This is as simple as this. I will show you here. If I go here, as you can see, I have here my CMID, and I have some USBs, okay? This USB contains, so this USB, actually USB drive F, contains Kali Linux. So sometimes the suspect hide the virtual machine data inside a USB, and there's no information exists on about the VDI or VMDX exists in the host machine. So I will show you here that I have here Kali, I have here, okay. So I have here Kali, and I can use, for example, Ubuntu. Sorry, I can use VirtualBox or VMware. Here's my VMware. I can say file, and then a new virtual machine, and then I can just run it. So I will see how can we go. So VMware file open, yeah. File, VMware file, and then open. And then I will go to the USB, and then I'll say, okay. It will create this, and then I will be able to run it. But this will not create any information on the host machine. So I will be able to have a full Kali Linux running from my USB without having any information. How did I do this? Simply, I just log into I just like download regular Kali Linux and keep the data inside the USB instead of my hard disk drive. So whenever I need, I just like plug in my USB and then run the whole virtual disk drive from my USB. So that's it. I just like press Command and Tab. Okay, okay. I will close and run it and show this to you again. Power off. I don't want to change anything. Okay, I rerun it again. And I will show you the results. But the point is that nothing will be shown in my host machine. I will go here. So some newer Windows system log when USB drivers are attached. Also, we can search in the Windows registry of the system log files. We can get some information about these from the actually the USB, the existence of the USB from the registry itself. So how can I do this? I will, for example, go to the registry, break edit. Yes. So I will not be able to see any information related to the Kali Linux, but I will be able to see some information related to the USB attached to my computer, to that computer. So how can I find this? I will go to the local machine. Yes, after the local machine, I will go to the system. And then after the system, I will go to the current control set, then enumeration. From the enumeration, I will go to USB. And within the USB, I will see all the attached USB. So here is like, I have, this is the venture. You will see the venture and you will see the, so the venture is Dahua and another venture is SanDisk and the actual file related to the Kali Linux are actually stored in the SanDisk. So I have another one is SanDisk and so forth. So these are all information, all USBs related, attached to the host machine that might indicate a clue that a virtual machine is attached through a USB. Okay, let me go back here. I would like to run it again. Yeah, and at the same time, let's go back here. So here's an example of how can we see nested machine. So I have here my own Windows. This is the whole Windows, and within Windows I have Ubuntu, and within Ubuntu we might have Ubuntu called Ubuntu nested. So this is kind of like having nested hypervisor too. Now, how can we conduct? These are civil, like what I have explained previously is that different clues about the existing of virtual machines. But now, how can we follow a consistent procedure, a clear procedure about investigating virtual machine? In order to perform this, first of all, we need to image the host machine. Again, as we said, we can do this using FTK Imager. I can like do the acquisition. After that, I will search within the virtual machine about some clues. After that, I will like any file of interest will be exported and we will record the hash associated with it. And if I find any file that has .vmdk or for example either VMDK or for example VDI, I will take care of it and utilize it as an input to the investigation. So how can we do this? I will show it to you in details. So first of all, we will do the acquisition. The acquisition is done. I already have showed you how can we conduct acquisition using FTK Imager. So this is the FTK Imager and we have done it and the results are actually stored where the results were stored in D. So this is the acquisition of Windows that contains the virtual machine. And then we said we open any application and we collect a lot of data. Actually, to facilitate the acquisition or to facilitate finding files related to the virtual machines, it's good to ensure that you right-click on the Windows with, and then right-click on this and ensure that the run ingest modules. This is very important to facilitate a search easily. So to facilitate a search easily. So we can search, for example, for different applications, different information related to the virtualization, etc. And any file of interest will be any file of interest should be highlighted, exported, and hashed. So for example, let's say, okay, I found here a file that ends with .vmdk. Okay, this means that VMDK, this means that this is a file extension related to VMware. So I can, for example, export this file and then hash it. So I can extract this file and then hash it and so forth. Extract files. So I can do this for many files. It should be .vmdk without ink. So, but because I'm not running the ingestion, it takes long time. So we will not be able to see this unless like we have full ingestion of the host that contains the virtual machines. So we can just like search and then .vmdk and search this in this, extract it in this one. Yes, and then it will do the search. Also, I can search, for example, for any file of interest that contains potential files related to virtualization. And the ingestion model is running, so it's very heavy right now. Anyways, the point is that to export files of interest after conducting ingestion, and we will hash these exported files. Another thing that I would like to mention is that, like, let's say that I have found a file that ends with .vmdk, or this file ends with .vdi. I will take this as an input to the uh, to the investigation tool. So what I will do here, I need to stop the ingestion because it takes a long time and makes the analysis very slow, but I will, yeah. So we can add a data source, and this data source is called like ends with .vdi or .vmdk. We'll close the case. It's very heavy. Yes. Do you want to just running? Are you still want to exit? Yes. Okay, I will show you here the last part. I will open autopsy. And I will show you the last part, which is here. So open a VM as an image file in a forensic software and create a forensics image or mount a VM as a drive. How can we do this? We will do this like open recent case. Yes. And then I will add it as a regular data source. okay, I can have another better way, case and new case, and I will say VM investigation. I will call it VM disk drive. VM disk drive investigation. And then next, number, for example, 3, then finish. Then add data source. Cancel. I will say oh yeah, okay. Add the disk, okay, generate, then next, it's okay. But here, I will say disk image or VM file, then next. Then here, select the path where the data source exists. So now, I will go to a places where I have, for example, here's the very virtual box. Here's like this one, where it contains .vmdk, or I will go to the documents. This is .vmdk, then open, then next. You select all, just hash lookup, then next. And now what I will be able to see is that I will see the whole virtual machine, and I can investigate a virtual machine instead of investigating a host that contains a virtual machine. And then we will see it here, and then we can investigate it. Let's continue. So, yeah. Next slide. So in the next slide is that other virtual machine examination method is that I use FTK Imager or OS Forensics can mount a virtual machine as an external drive. This is what I have also showed you. I can use FTK Imager or OS Forensics or even Autopsy and mount the VM as an external drive. So I can mount them normally and investigate them. And this will allow you to see standard examination procedure for static hard disk drive. Let's see if we were able to see the results right now, or not yet. It takes a long time because this is very large disk drive, but I have done it previously and it worked normally. You can add anything that with .vmdk, with .vdi or .ova, and you will be able to examine the whole image as the whole image as a regular standalone computer. Okay. Now, what are the common type 1 hypervisor? Type 1 hypervisor, again, as I have explained, the very common one is AWS, VMware Sphere. We have also other things such as parallel, bare metal. We have parallels, but parallels actually exist as a normal type 2, and there's a parallel bare meter exists for type 1 hypervisors. And you can conduct, or you can access these hypervisors easily by subscriptions. How can we, after that, how can we perform live acquisition? Before going to perform the live acquisition, okay, I would like to, yeah, So, okay, before explaining this, the virtual acquisition, I would like to see. Yes, here's autopsy, finally, alhamdulillah, this is the autopsy, and here's the data source that contains this one, and then we were able to analyze everything here. And many other things. Okay. And we can do this an autopsy. And again, it was mentioned that an FTK imager, I can do this also an FTK imager. I will show you in both tools. This is FTK imager. I can type file, add evidence item. Then I will consider it as an image file. Then next, then I will browse it. Then I will go to the VirtualBox that with .vdi and then open and then finish. And then this is the one. This is it. Or we can open it also by autopsy, which provides further analysis because FTK is very good at acquisition rather than analysis. So FTK imager, I mean. So we can do this in two things. So let's go back and summarize the whole thing related here. I will go to this one. So we said that we were able to understand different virtual machines. What are the types of different virtual machines? How can we conduct an investigation of virtual machines? And in order to conduct an investigation in virtual machines, we learned many things. We learned, okay, so we learned many things. We learned how can we, for example, here, we learned how can we acquire image of host machine, acquire an image of a host machine. We were able to understand also how can we search for evidence in a host machine. But this is a host machine that contains, that contains actually the virtual machine, the VM. Also, we were able to we said that we can find this in documents. We can say we will find some information in the registries. We'll be able to find some information about a network adapter. What else? We also talked about nested virtual machines. We talked about not only about nested, but also virtual machine exist and USB, but still we can find the clues using the registry. We also talked about full investigation process that contains of 5 steps. So all of these are related to the investigation of virtual machine. Now we will talk about live investigation, but actually when I say live investigation can be applied for virtual machine and live investigation can also be applied for memory, okay? Okay, so live acquisition of virtual machine, which is explained in slide 15. What do we mean by live acquisition here? This is very important aspect. When I say live acquisition of virtual machines, this means that how can I acquire data of virtual machine while the virtual machine is up and running? And in order to do this, I need to acquire the memory and I need to ensure that because if I'm not doing if I do the static things, I will be able to get the VMDK and the VDI. But the VMDK and the VDI, it is a static, but the live acquisition will give us information about snapshots, about different state of the virtual machine. And it will we need to, when I say live acquisition, this means that I need to collect two important things that Uh, First is the memory of a virtual machine. And another thing, I need to consider the virtual machine a snapshot file. This one, okay? This is the live acquisition of virtual machine. This involve the memory as well as the VMST, because sometimes when I do the hard disk drive or the acquisition, the regular acquisition of the host that contains hard disk drive, that contains virtual machine, I will not be able to see these files. And in order to acquire the memory of virtual machines, this can be done يعني this can be done simply if you have Windows, or if you have, for example, Linux, you can conduct this. If you use Windows, we will use Bilkasoft. If I have, for example, Linux, I will use Lime. So here I will tell you that, let's say, I have here, for example, the La ilaha illallah. Here's the Linux. Linux usually deals with Lime tool. Okay, Lime tool. Also, Windows usually deals with Bilkasoft. Yes, here's Bilkasoft. Or I will say RAM capture. Here's RAM capture tool. Yes. And this is the Windows. So let me explain. So in Windows, I will have Bilkasoft live RAM capture. It will capture, but this will capture the host, not the virtual machine. So in order to capture that virtual machine of uh, the memory of the virtual machine, the Bilkasoft live RAM capture should be inside the virtual machine, and then we will capture the thing. But this will capture the actual memory, not the memory of the virtual machine. I will also give you example of conducting a virtual acquisition of memory inside Linux. So we will use a Lime tool, and the Lime tool can be installed from GitHub. And then I will run with a high privileges user, and then I will actually use this module in Lime, and then I will have the path of the virtual machine. Where will I store this virtual machine? I said, okay, the path is home, and then my name, the desktop, and then I will call it virtual memory 2, or I will call it virtual memory, for example, uh, 10, and then row, and then the format equal row. Actually, I can have different format, but I will and it creates this one. So this one has been created, and it can be later opened with volatility. This means that, okay, we have conducted a live acquisition of the virtual machine. I can also run the same command, but with different format called Lime. But if it is .lime, this means that I have to run it here with Lime as well. But this will not be run unless I have stopped the Lime and then rerun it again. So if I do this, it will not be working. It wouldn't work. So I have to actually stop running this module and then run it again. But I will have different name for it. So Lime2.lime, this is with different format. So now I have two memory acquisition, one with row format and one with .lime format, and then I can plug either one to volatility that can show me a lot of information about these things. Another thing, again, related to the acquisition or live acquisition of virtual memory is to understand the state. And the state can be found in the virtual machine snapshot the snapshot. So if I go to this file, again, it's running, that's why I couldn't be able to see VMST, right click or open file location. Because I am running, I think, is it running the Windows? It shouldn't be running, so I will be able to see it if it's not. .vm. I will, yeah. .vmst. This is it. Open file location. You'll be able to see it here. Documents. That shows the snapshots. And understanding the snapshot is part of the live acquisition of virtual machine. This one, I think, no, VMST. Here are all the information about the snapshot. But here's the snapshot metadata. Yes, this one. Edit in Notepad. And then we'll be able to see this. So this part is important for the live acquisition. So again, if I go back to these slides, it says performing yes. So here, slide 15. So live acquisition virtual machine are often necessary. Why do we need to do live acquisition? Because it includes all the snapshot. Doing the regular acquisition will not contain snapshot, but the live acquisitions contain snapshot, which record the state of the virtual machine at a particular time. So when acquiring an image of virtual machine file, snapshot might not be included. Therefore, we need to incorporate this through collecting the .vmst and the memory acquisition of the virtual machine. This is the other examination method already explained. I can open FTK or OS Forensics to mount a virtual machine. And I already have shown you this through Autopsy, actually, and FTK Imager. I already explained this. Okay, now performing live acquisition. This slide 19, talks about live acquisition of a memory. Okay, it doesn't talk about live acquisition of live acquisition of the memory in general. So I will So this is very simple. Performing live acquisition of the memory provide a lot of information because attackers might leave some footprints on running processes or RAM, and we need to ensure order validity. Again, and digital forensic techniques and tools course, we stated that RAM is very volatile, contains very volatile data. Therefore, we need to consider it first comparing to other type of files. Okay. And here it says that, okay, slide 20, let's go to slide 20. Yeah, performing live acquisition. How can we perform live acquisition? We need to create or download a portable forensic CD. Actually, and make sure to keep log of all your actions. And network drive is an ideal place to send the information. So let's say that I would like to conduct a virtual, not a virtual, I would like to conduct a memory acquisition. I am not, I don't agree with this point, which is create or download a portable forensic CD. Why? Because this, if I create a portable forensic CD, I need to reboot, and if I reboot, I will lost everything, okay? So this is not recommended step because it will overwrite everything exists in the memory. So the solution is that as simple as it is, I will explain all of this, is to go to any RAM capture and then you will capture the data. Okay, here's it's open already. And then capture. So I can use like Bilkasoft Live RAM Capture or use any other tools to capture the memory. And let's say that this is my host, this machine is actually the suspect machine. This means that I have to send the data through a network, for example. A network driver is ideal as a place to send the information you collect. So after I collect, I need to send it to through a network drive or through a USB or whatever. Be sure to get a forensics digital hash value of all files you recover during the live acquisition. I have conducted this one and I have collected the results of the memory. So if I go to user downloads from capture, I will be able to see the captured files. So let's go together. Here's C, user, or I can go here directly to the downloads. We can go to RAM capture and here, and we will see the one that I already collected before. I have collected this one. And this is another one collected, and this is a third one collected. So actually, how do they store? Like they store the memory based on this format. So 2026 is the year, then the month, then the date, then dot memory. If I collect any, if I use Bilkasoft in virtual machine, it will not be .mem, it will be .vmem. Okay, so all of these are the captured memory. Okay, now let's go back to the slides. This is done. Let's go next. We can perform live acquisition windows using Bilkasoft RAM Capture, Kali Linux. In Windows, we can use Bilkasoft. In Linux, we can use other tools such as, for example, Lime and others. Also, we have Mandiant Memorize. There are other graphical user interface, but they are not preferred as using the command line interface. The graphical user interface, they often require a lot of system resources and might get false readings in Windows operating systems. Therefore, it's recommended to utilize it's recommended to use the command line interface. Actually, Bilkasoft is a graphical user interface. Lime is actually command line interface. So it's preferred to use the command line rather than the graphical user interface. Okay, so let's go back and memorize or summarize this part. So this is the investigation of the virtual machine. Also, we need to understand that beside all of this, we need to understand, okay, that we need to understand that, okay, we need to understand the memory forensics. And we need that. This is very simple. There are a lot of tools. We have here command line interface, and we have a graphical user interface. And command line interface is way better than the graphical user interface. Also, we need to understand that if I did this in regular host machine, it will be .mem. Okay, but if I have done it on virtual machines, usually it will be .vmem. Okay, virtual memory. And I can open all of them using volatility tool. Okay, now we will talk about other aspect, which is network forensics. So what are the most important information in network forensics? Network forensics already have been covered previously in digital forensic techniques and tools. So I will go through them very quickly. Okay. So in network forensics, we usually need to gather what? Usually need to gather BCAP files, Wireshark files. We can use Wireshark, TCP/dump in order to collect these files. And also, we need to understand something, a very important concept called defense in depth. And what is the defense in depth? We will explain it very well in the network forensics. So let's go back to the slides. What's network forensics overview? Network forensics is the process of collecting and analyzing raw network data. This can be done by TCP/dump, Wireshark, and many other things. And then like check how an attack was carried out on how an event or how an event occurred on a network. Intruders leaves usually a trails behind. So any action leaves a trails or leaves something behind. So it's important again to understand the network traffic, the pattern, the protocols, all the things that we covered previously is very important to facilitate the investigation. Network forensics usually examine must establish standard procedures for how to acquire data after an attack or intrusion. And like we can use NIST, one of the good resources is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. They provide a very good guideline called Guides to Integrated Forensics Techniques into Incident Response. It's very interesting and it contains a lot of information. You can find it in the internet under the name NIST 886. So if you go to the NIST 886, you will find this information. This is the volatility. Yeah, this is integrating forensic techniques into incident response. Very important. You can download the whole document, read it, and it gives you a lot of information about network forensics. What is layered network defense strategy? What is this? This is actually when we try to protect anything, we can utilize the layered network defense strategy. This means that protecting a network using multiple layers of defense. We are not using one layer, we are using multiple layers, okay? So rather than relying on a single defense mechanism, the idea is that if an attack or if an attacker managed to compromise or bypass one layer, still there are other many layers that prevent the attacker from reaching the most sensitive information or data. So the concept here is defense and depth. Defense and depth, a similar approach developed by NSA, which is National Security Agency. So the defense and depth consist of three important aspects: the people, the technology, the operation. Like letting people aware of we cannot rely on people alone to protect the data, and we cannot rely on technology, because if the technology fail, if the technology is very very strong, but people fail to consider or people if we consider the technology, and we have very good technology, but people did some wrong behavior, the very strong technology will fail, and the data will be reached by the attacker. So And the operations, what is operation? Operation is like day-to-day activities that should be considered in order to keep our data strong, such as what? If I have a software, if I have very good people, they were aware of everything, but I did not patch the software, I did not did the update. This will result in having a lot of vulnerabilities. Therefore, we need to patch, we need to do some updates in order to keep our environment secure. Okay, so what is this? So if we go here, the layers of defense and depth. So this diagram illustrates the concept of defense and depth, which is layered, layered security strategy used to protect networks and systems. So the idea is to protect our data, and in order to protect our data, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 things in order, or 6 things to secure these aspects. So we have to have policies, procedure, and awareness. This is actually security policies, employee training, awareness programs. All of these help prevent human errors such as phishing attacks. Also, we have to have another layer, which is the physical layer, physical security, which is protection of physical infrastructures like servers, network equipments, and data center by how can we physically secure these aspects. Also the parameters, which is the DMZ. The DMZ is the network boundary, separate the internal network from the external network. So how can we this is another layer. How can we protect this? How can we protect the internal network? Internal network is in the corporate IT infrastructure. So security means, or security usually securing the organization network, such as network segmentation and monitoring tools, etc. Also, we need also to consider the security of the hosts. If I have hardwares, software, any computer that runs any application, I need also to protect it. The application that runs on the host, and the data that exists in the application that runs in the host, and all of them exist in the network, in the internal network that were separated from the external network, and also securing the physical equipments, and also having very good training and awareness for the people. So all of these are like several layers to ensure security. So in defense and depth ensures that security does not rely on a single control, but on multiple layers working together to protect the critical data. Okay, so what about this? In the previous diagram, so the basics layer of defense and depth, starting from policies and physical security up to applications and data at the center. But this diagram is kind of the same concept, but in real industry cybersecurity framework used by organization. So for example, instead of just showing the layer conceptually, this framework shows the actual security technology utilized in industry for each part. So for example, if I am talking about network security, okay, network security, which is the internal network, how can I protect it? I can protect it using, for example, virtual firewall, web proxy, by having mobile security, etc. Okay, how can I protect the application? I can protect the application using database monitoring, scanning, static app testing, dynamic app testing. How can I protect the data? I can protect the data against, for example, using several data integrity monitoring, data classification, what are very sensitive, critical data that can be shared, so I can have like data classification, etc. So here are mechanisms under each part of this. So here is the people. We are just saying that like if one mode of protection fails, the others can be used to prevent this attack. So if we, for example, if I have so like these are different modes that having a combination of them is very important. So listing people as a mode of protection means organization must hire well qualified people, understand them well, train them well in order to avoid being uh, um, um, in order to avoid being victim for phishing attacks. In addition, organization should make sure employees are trained in adequately in security procedures and are familiar with organization security policies. Not only people, but also the technology. We need to use very good technology, strong technology that protects the organization. And this technology should be tested on regular basis through penetration testing to like leverage some risks associated with these technology utilized in the organization. Also, the operations again is like day-to-day activities, like by updating the antivirus software, ensure that security are like all the patches are implemented, etc. How can we secure any network? By testing network is very important, such as testing the servers. We need to be up to date on the latest method intruders use to break into the networks. Actually, we need to understand that like we might have if we have very small organizations, so small companies or fewer than 10 employees often don't consider security precautions against an internal threat necessary. We know that the intruders can be either external or internal, right? But if I have very small organization, we might not consider the internal threats or internal attacker or internal intruders. Let's go next. Okay, how can we develop a procedure for network forensics? In order to do this or develop a very simple procedure for network forensics, so we need to follow a very logical process. Okay, so the first important thing is to collect very volatile data. We need to collect a volatile data such as RAM, active network connections, because this information can disappear if the system is turned off. Okay, so here are the steps, but they are not organized. Therefore, I said that we need to acquire all the volatile data as a first step, attempt to retrieve all volatile data. Then after that, I need to acquire forensics image of the compromised drive. So I need to acquire all compromised drives. So this is first, this is second. And after that, I need to compare the forensics image of the original install, compare the acquired one against what? Against an image that called original installation image. What's the original installation image? Original installation image is an image that contains the normal configuration of all the software. So always use a standard installation image for system or a network, connecting all the standard application. Why? This is kind of a baseline, a reference. Whenever any attack happens, we still can check the collected files against the standard image. And if there's any deviation, we can know where is the deviation exists. So first, and then fix the vulnerability after the attack. So we will start with, again, the process here is not in a correct order. The first order is to attempt, this is the first thing, is usually we have to have a standard installation image, right? But if an attack happens, we will not do the fixing. We will first retrieve the volatile, then acquire compromised drive, then compare. After that, we will fix the vulnerability after an attack. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fixing is the last one. Okay. Also, we can like reviewing the network logs. Logs actually stored in whether they are ingoing or outgoing traffic. They are stored in servers, router, firewalls. We can use different tools such as Wireshark or TCP dump to log all the network traffic, and from there we can analyze them clearly. And already we have covered this in advanced and digital forensic techniques and tools, where we have seen some examples of distributed denial of service attack exists from the network captures. there are a lot of like, yeah, what is sys and internals? What is sys internals? Sys internals is a very interesting package developed by Microsoft. Sys internal is actually a collection of free tools for examining Windows products. And I encourage everyone to install it. So sys internal is here. So sys internals is actually created a long time ago, and it consists of a lot of tools. I already have downloaded it, and I will show you the results. Where is the download? Here's the download. Here are they. And all of these are different tools that can be utilized for like monitoring, analyzing, etc. So we have auto-run, we have, for example, login session, we have also PS ping, PS password, PS kill if I would like to kill any process, PS list to list all the process. So all of these will be exist in your computer for different analysis. So for example, I will give you here, for example, a collection of free tools for examining Windows products. So for example, there are a lot of things, but I can run any of these. So but it actually, okay. But in order who is, all of these exist. So when I open the command, I will be able to utilize these tools exist in the PS or the system internals. I think I have already, yeah. I don't want to shut down. For example, if I just like, I think we need to run it from the, we need to like go from there and run them from the command line. So for example, here is RAM map. RAM map is a graphical user interface. So I will show you RAM map. So it will show you the processes running in the memory, etc. So here's the processes that are running, CMSS, CB, chost, etc., RAM capture, and many others. So going back to the slides. So we have here a rig monitor or registry monitor. This is just that it will like check the registry in real time. We have also process explorer, a process explorer to show you all the running processes and what's loaded in the memory. We have also handle, it's like it identify which process are currently using a specific file. So what a process using what files. So this is to link them together. And FileMon is monitoring file systems activities. So in data forensics, all these tools mentioned assess internals is very important because these tools help investigators observe systems behavior, detect malware activities, etc. Actually, the rig monitor or registry monitor and the file monitor are no longer available. They have become outdated things, so we will not be able to find them. Tools from the PS tool suites created by sys internals. We have also a lot of tools here, such as what? Such as PSEXE. The PSEXE allow you to run program on a remote computer. So it allow you to run some applications on remote computers. PS get SID. PS means process, get means bring, SID means security identifier, so it will show you all the security identifier. PSKIL means kill a specific process by its ID. I should provide the ID. PSList means list all the process and so forth. Actually, in order to run them, I think I have to run them from the command line interface. So I will see. I will say, okay. If it is graphical, it's okay, but if it is command, I have to run it from here. So I will go here to the CSS Center and then right-click, copy, and then here I will go to CD, right-click, paste, and then I will type, for example, any symbol one, for example, PS list. It will list all the processes running here. Also, I can type, I don't want to say, okay, there are other things, but they are very sensitive, so I don't want to like write them here because it will upload some information such as SID. I don't want to kill anything because it might affect the whole um, recording. So the most important thing is that I can run any of these through the terminal by going to the exact correct لا إله إلا الله path. Okay. Also, we can use some packet analyzers. Packet analyzer discovers software that monitors network traffic, and they must work at layer 2 or 3 OSI model, but also even layer 4. So there are a lot of like packet captures, such as CCV dump and TheReal. So we can utilize them to capture network traffic. Here is the architecture of the TCP protocol. As you can see here, we have a source and destination ports, etc. I will not like highlight further. We already have explained this before. Okay. Now we will talk about another aspect, which is the honeypot or the Honeywell. What is the honeypot project? The honeypot project, as you can see here, is actually developed to make information widely available in an attempt to prevent internet and network hackers. So as the honey, it will collect a lot of good things. So it collects the things, right? So it provides information about how the attacker behave. So what is the objective of the honeypot project is to provide information, to provide awareness, give information about the attacker behavior, and provide other tools that the attacker utilizes in order to perform any attacks. So for example, in distributed denial of service attack, a major threat that may go through other organizations' network, not just yours. So hundreds or even thousands of malicious zombies can be used. So if I am utilizing honeypot, I will be able to see who is trying to perform the denial of service attack on my own website, etc. So let's go to the next. Yeah. Here, we will also talk about like zero-day attacks. What's zero-day attack? An attack that the patch is not yet available. So, for example, zero-day attacks happens when attackers find vulnerability in the system that before the security patch exists or emerge. So they can exploit it immediately. This is very like a major threat that can happen, affect a lot of things. What's honeypot and honeywell? Honeypot is a normal looking computer that lures attackers to it. So honeypot is a computer that let attackers like let attackers think about hacking this. It's very interesting for the attackers to perform attacks on this. They thought that it is a real computer, but no, this is a honeypot. This is a fake. This is not a real computer. It's a real computer, but it is not a real computer, an important asset for the organization. So if it is compromised, it's okay. We are just want to learn how the attacker behave. What is Honeywall? Honeywall is like a wall that monitors what's happening to a honeypot on your network. So there is a honeypot here, and there is attackers. The Honeywall is like trying to monitor how the things happen. So Honeywall is a monitoring system that records everything attackers do when they interact with the honeypot. Together, the honeypots as well as the Honeywall are actually help security researchers study attacks and improve defenses or defense mechanism. Next, what can be found in a memory? If I ask you this question, what can be found in the memory? In order to answer a lot of things, we can find the process, we can see the operating system installed in this device. We can see the malware using malfind. We can see the open connections and many other things. And in order to do this, or in order to find this memory, I will show you this and I will show you this at the end. I will analyze one of the memory. So forensics value of memory analysis. Within the memory, I can find a lot of information. There are a lot of information. Conducting analysis on a memory will enable people to recover an encryption key. So if the keys are actually stored not encrypted or in a plain text, or if it's encrypted, still we can access the memory to see the text or the keys in plain text. So we can, it will enable people to recover encryption key, hash password, different types of user activities, evidence system, and to identify, even if it's encrypted, they can collect the encrypted one and they can do further analysis to decrypt. So we can find it in a plain text or even in encrypted ways, but even this encrypted can be, we can do some further analysis to get the keys in a plain text. Malware has to run and of course, this malware is being executed in live memory. Therefore, that is the place to look at. Sometimes the malware does not exist on the hard disk drive. There's no clue of the existence of the malware in the hard disk drive. It only exists in the RAM. So to filter down through RAM noise and to be able to look for legitimate process from suspicious behavior, we need to do memory analysis through volatility. Okay, so I will explain the memory and then we will go for the summary together through the mind map. So let's do the memory analysis. I will go here. I will go to the command line. I will say CLS to clear everything, and then CD, and then CD. Okay. Now I need to have a volatility tool. I need to have the volatility tool in order to analyze any memory. So, and I need to have the sample that I need to analyze. First of all, I need to go to the volatility folder. Where's the volatility folder? The volatility folder in my device is stored here. So I will go to the downloads. Here's the volatility. And here's the volatility. I have to see something called vol.python. So this is the Python script. So I will right-click, copy the path, and then go here, and then CD, and then here. Oh no, not this one. Download volatility. Right-click. Right-click, copy address, and then here I will say CD. Yes. Yes, we are now in the correct place. Now, I have here the volatility and I would like to analyze. So what I will be able to do is that I need to search for the volatility for the virtual memory. So in order to do this, so I will type a Python, then volatility.py, Python, then hyphen F, then I will put the file. Do you remember when I captured the memory using the RAM capture? This one? So this one is stored and we will be able to see. Okay, I will go to the location and take this memory. So I will go here. I will go to the downloads. I will go to RAM capture. Sorry, not this one. This one here, and I will collect this one. This is this one. Right click. I will copy the path actually. Copy. But I need to put this one because this is the file. I should copy the path actually. This is easier. So I should copy the path. Right click, I copied the path. Then after that, I will say, for example, windows.ps3. So this will list all the process in a tree format within this memory. So then I will hit enter. It takes time for sure because it depends on the memory that I have, how many gigas. It seems very large giga. See, it's a 16.7 giga. It's a lot. Okay.